Clara Vance looks at the man she has tried to ruin and sees, for the first time, the man her father had chosen. Ethan Holt stands by the wide boardroom window. He does not look at the defeated man being escorted from the room. He does not look at the stunned faces of the board members. He does not look at her. His gaze is fixed on the harbor below, where a single container ship, painted in the Vance Marine cobalt blue, makes its slow, deliberate way out to sea. His stillness is a rebuke. His silence is an answer. It is the same stillness, the same silence that began this entire thing. The air in the shipyard hangs thick with the smells of salt and ozone and hot steel. It is a smell Ethan Holt has known his entire life. It is the smell of work. He holds a digital caliper in his hand, its metal cool against his skin. The number on its screen reads 22.15 millimeters. Exactly as it should be. He places the instrument back in its velvet-lined case with the care of a surgeon. The piece of machined titanium on his workbench gleams under the high bay lights. It is a turbine blade, one of 12 for a new azimuth thruster. It is perfect. He wipes his hands on a clean blue rag. He does not use the greasy ones piled in the bin. He maintains his own supply. He folds the rag into a neat square and places it beside the caliper case. His workbench is an island of order in the controlled chaos of the fabrication floor. Every tool has its place, outlined in white paint on the pegboard behind him. Every drawer is labeled. It is a space built for focus, for precision. It is the only space where the world makes complete sense. From the corner of the bench, a small wooden boat sits in a custom-made cradle. It is a model, barely a foot long, carved from a single block of basswood. Its lines are clean and hydrodynamic, a miniature echo of the massive hulls that take shape in the dry docks outside. He runs a single finger along its hull. The wood is smooth as polished stone. "Is it done, Daddy?" Ethan turns. His daughter, Lily, stands a few feet away, holding the hand of George, the shipyard foreman. She's 7 years old, all pigtails and questions, with eyes the same serious grey as his own. She wears a small, bright yellow hard hat that George insists upon, even for a 5-minute visit. "Almost," Ethan says. He does not smile with his mouth. He smiles with his eyes. It is a small shift, a subtle warming that only Lily and George can read. "It needs a name." Lily steps closer, her eyes wide with concentration as she examines the little boat. "Hope," she says with the absolute certainty of a child. "Her name is Hope." "Hope it is," Ethan agrees. He picks up a fine-tipped brush. He will paint the name on the transom later, in small, perfect letters. George clears his throat. He is a man made of steel cable and kind-hearted grumbles. "Company's coming, Ethan. The new queen herself." Ethan does not look up. He continues to inspect the turbine blade. "I know." "Marcus is with her," George adds, his voice a low warning. Ethan's hands stop for exactly 1 second. Then they resume their work. He knows what that means. He has known Marcus Thorne for 15 years. He knows the shape of his ambition. It is sharp and without conscience. He turns to Lily. "Time to go, little bird. Go with George. I'll see you at home for dinner." "Okay, Daddy," she says. She gives his leg a quick, fierce hug. He rests his hand on her yellow hard hat for a moment. The plastic is warm from the lights. He feels the small, solid reality of her. She is the reason for the order. She is the reason for the work. The delegation arrives 10 minutes later. Clara Vance walks into the fabrication building like she owns it, which she does. She is tall and dressed in a dark grey suit that costs more than Ethan's truck. Her hair is pulled back in a severe knot. Her face is pale and set, a mask of professional authority. Grief has hollowed out her cheeks, but she has filled the space with resolve. She is her father's daughter, but only on the surface. Arthur Vance wore his power like a comfortable old coat. His daughter wears hers like armor. Marcus Thorne is at her elbow, a step behind, whispering into her ear. He points, he gestures. He is a predator mapping out the terrain for a new alpha. His eyes slide past Ethan, then flick back, a small, triumphant glint in them. Clara's gaze sweeps the workshop. It is loud, it is dirty, it is everything her clean, quiet corner office is not. Her eyes land on Ethan's workbench, on the island of meticulous order. They narrow slightly. She walks over, her heels clicking on the concrete floor. The sound is alien here. Marcus follows, a smug shadow. "This is the Special Projects Division?" Clara asks. Her voice is crisp, cutting through the din of grinders and rivet guns. "It is," Marcus answers smoothly, "or what passes for it. This is Ethan Holt. He was one of your father's personal interests." The phrase hangs in the air, weighted with insinuation. It suggests a pet, a charity case, not a professional. Ethan slowly, deliberately places the turbine blade into a foam-padded shipping crate. He does not look at them. He continues his task. Clara's eyes fall on the model boat. "What is this?" "A hobby, it seems," Marcus says, his tone dismissive. "A waste of company time and materials." Ethan closes the lid of the crate. He secures the latches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each makes a solid, satisfying click. "Mr. Holt," Clara says. Her voice is closer now. He can smell her perfume, a faint, expensive scent of citrus and something cold. He turns to face her. He is not a tall man, but he is solid. His hands are clean, but his knuckles are scarred. His grey eyes are steady. He simply waits. "Marcus tells me this project has produced no viable returns in over 2 years, she states. It is not a question. It is a verdict. Ethan does not speak. He does not defend the work. He does not mention the patents filed, the prototypes developed. He does not mention the late-night calls with her father, the shared excitement over a breakthrough in hull efficiency, the quiet camaraderie built on mutual respect for the work. The work is supposed to speak for itself. Her father understood that. "He says you operate outside the normal R&D budget," she continues, her voice hardening. "That your records are opaque. Marcus has done his job well. He has painted a picture of waste and favoritism." Ethan looks at her. He sees the grief she is trying so hard to conceal. He sees the pressure she is under to prove herself, to fill the impossibly large shoes her father left behind. He sees that she is being led, and he knows that nothing he can say will change the course she is on. Not today. So he remains silent. His silence unnerves her. She expected a defense, an argument, a plea. She gets nothing but a calm, steady gaze. It feels like a judgment. "Vance Marine is moving forward," she says, her voice rising slightly. "We are streamlining. We are cutting redundancies and sentimental projects that no longer serve the bottom line. As of today, this division is dissolved. Your project is terminated. You will be reassigned to general fabrication, effective immediately." She delivers the blow cleanly, like a surgeon. It is a public humiliation. The noise in the workshop has quieted. Men have stopped working to watch. George stands by the main door, his face a thundercloud. Ethan holds her gaze for a long count. For exactly 5 seconds. He gives her a single, short nod. Then he turns his back on her. He picks up the blue rag, unfolds it, and begins to wipe down his already immaculate workbench. Clara stands there, momentarily wrong-footed. She has won. She has asserted her authority. but it feels like a hollow, bitter victory. The man's quiet dignity is an accusation she cannot answer. "Come, Clara," Marcus says, placing a proprietary hand on her arm. "There is more to see." She allows him to lead her away, but she glances back one last time. Ethan Holt has not moved. He's still cleaning his tools, a man alone in his small, ordered world, utterly unmoved by the storm that has just broken over him. His lack of reaction is an indictment, and it follows her all the way back to the silent, air-conditioned world of her limousine. The city skyline slides past the tinted windows of the car, a panorama of glass and steel that reflects her own image back at her. Clara Vance does not look at it. She stares at her hands resting in her lap. They are perfectly manicured. They have never held a tool. They have only signed papers. "That went well," Marcus says from the seat opposite her. "A decisive move. It sends a clear message to the old guard. The company is in new hands." Clara does not respond. She is replaying the scene in her mind. The noise, the smell of metal, the man, Holt. She replays his silence, the flat, unreadable look in his eyes, the single, deliberate nod of acceptance. It was not the reaction of a guilty man caught wasting company resources. It was not the reaction of a proud man whose pet project was cancelled. It was something else, something she cannot name. It was like watching a great oak tree accept the axe without a tremor. "He was your father's biggest blind spot," Marcus continues, filling the silence she leaves. "Arthur had a soft spot for these artisans. He thought they were the soul of the company. But soul doesn't show up on a balance sheet. Profit does. You did the right thing." "Did I?" she asks, the words so quiet they are almost lost in the hum of the engine. Marcus leans forward. "Clara, your father built an empire, but he was from a different era. In the last few years, he was letting things slide. Sentimental attachments, inefficiencies. Holt was the prime example. Your job now is to protect the legacy, and that means making the hard choices he was no longer willing to make." His words are reasonable. They are logical. They are the same words she has been telling herself for the past month, ever since she sat in the lawyer's office and the weight of her father's world settled onto her shoulders. She is the CEO now. She has to be ruthless. She has to be bottom-line oriented. She has to be everything Marcus is telling her to be. But the image of Ethan Holt's quiet dignity persists. It is a piece of grit in the smooth machinery of her logic. She felt no power in firing him. She felt only a strange, unsettling sense of shame. Back in her office on the 50th floor, the world is silent and orderly. Her desk is a vast expanse of polished mahogany. The city spreads out below her like a circuit board. This is where she is comfortable. This is where she is in command. She pulls up Ethan Holt's employee file on her computer. It is sparse. 20 years of service. Master fabricator. Specialist in hydrodynamic engineering. A list of commendations, all signed by her father. A single note in the file, added 5 years ago. Transferred to Special Projects Division. Reports directly to me, a V. There are no budget reports, no progress summaries, just a black hole of trust between her father and this man, a trust she has just violated. She closes the file. She straightens a stack of papers that is already perfectly aligned. She picks up her pen. She sets it down again. The man's face, calm and unreadable, remains behind her eyes. She cannot shake the feeling that she has not just cut a redundant project. She has broken something. Something important. 2 weeks pass. The incident at the shipyard fades, buried under an avalanche of meetings, quarterly reports, and strategic planning sessions. Clara works relentlessly, fueled by coffee and a burning need to prove herself. She is sharp, intelligent, and decisive. The board is impressed. Marcus is ever present, her loyal and capable second-in-command, guiding her, advising her, consolidating his own power with every move she makes. The rain starts on a Friday evening, a sudden, violent thunderstorm that turns the city streets into black mirrors. Clara is driving herself home, a rare indulgence. The solitude of the car is a relief after a week of constant talk. The windshield wipers beat a frantic, hypnotic rhythm. The engine sputters. It coughs once, twice, then dies. The car glides to a silent halt on the shoulder of a quiet, tree-lined road. She is miles from the city center, in a residential area she barely recognizes. She tries the ignition. Nothing. The dashboard is dark. The silence in the car is suddenly immense, broken only by the drumming of rain on the roof. She takes out her phone. No signal. Of course. She sighs, a sound of pure frustration. She is the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and she is stranded by a dead battery and a freak cell service outage. She rests her forehead against the cool glass of the window, watching the rain sluice down. She is trapped. A pair of headlights appears behind her, slowing down. A beat-up but well-maintained pickup truck pulls over a few yards ahead. A man gets out, pulling the hood of a simple grey sweatshirt over his head. He walks towards her car, his steps sure and unhurried in the downpour. It is Ethan Holt. She does not know what to do. Her mind races. Hide? Pretend she is not there? It is ridiculous. He has already seen her. He taps gently on the driver's side window. She hesitates for a moment, then presses the button. The window lowers a few inches with a reluctant whine. Rain mists her face. "Car trouble?" he asks. His voice is calm, matter of fact. There is no surprise in it, no animosity. "It just died," she says, her own voice sounding small and thin. "Pop the hood," he says. It is a quiet command. She fumbles for the latch, her fingers clumsy. She pulls it. He walks to the front of the car, the rain plastering his sweatshirt to his shoulders. He lifts the hood. For a few minutes, there is only the sound of the storm and the quiet, competent sounds of him checking connections. He does not seem to feel the cold or the wet. He comes back to her window. "Your alternator is shot. You're not going anywhere." "I see," she says, feeling a fresh wave of helplessness. Do you have a phone I could use?" He shakes his head. "Cell service is out all over this area. Storm must have knocked out a tower. My house is just up the road. You can wait there. Call a tow truck when the phones come back on." He is not asking. He is stating the only logical course of action. There is no other option. Walking in this storm, in her suit and thin heels, is impossible. "All right," she says, her voice tight. "Thank you." She gathers her briefcase and her purse and gets out of the car, immediately getting soaked. The wind is cold. He waits for her, then leads her towards his truck. He opens the passenger door for her. The interior smells of coffee and something clean, like sawdust. It is warm and dry. He gets in the driver's side, water dripping from his hair onto the simple cloth seats. The drive is less than a minute. He pulls into the driveway of a small, modest house. It is a craftsman-style bungalow, immaculately kept. The porch light is on, a warm, yellow beacon in the stormy dark. Inside, the house is clean, simple, and filled with the smell of toast and cinnamon. Bookshelves line the walls, filled with thick engineering texts and worn paperbacks. Framed photos sit on the mantelpiece. A young woman with a bright, open smile. Ethan, looking younger, his arm around her. Lily, as a baby, as a toddler. "Daddy, you're all wet!" Lily comes running from the living room, her face a mask of concern. She's in her pajamas. "Just a little rain, little bird," he says, shrugging off his wet sweatshirt. "We have a guest. This is Miss Vance. Her car broke down." Lily looks at Clara, who is standing awkwardly in the entryway, dripping onto the wooden floor. Lily's expression is serious, her grey eyes taking in Clara's wet, expensive suit and shivering frame. "Are you sad?" Lily asks, her voice small and clear. Clara is taken aback. "What? You look sad," Lily says with unwavering conviction. "Like Daddy was, after Mommy went to be a star." The innocent, profound observation lands with the force of a physical blow. It cuts through every layer of Clara's corporate armor, through the grief she has held so tightly coiled inside her, and strikes something raw and vulnerable. She feels her composure crack. Ethan puts a gentle hand on Lily's shoulder. "Why don't you get Miss Vance a towel?" he says softly. "The big, fluffy one." Lily nods and runs off. "I'm sorry," Ethan says, not looking at Clara but at the floor where a puddle is forming. She says what she sees." "It's all right," Clara manages to say, her voice thick. "She's right." He says nothing more. He takes her wet coat and hangs it on a peg by the door. Lily returns with a large, soft towel, which she offers to Clara with both hands, a solemn offering. Clara takes it. The cotton is warm and smells of laundry soap. It is the most comforting thing she has felt all day. The storm rages on. The power flickers, then goes out, plunging the house into darkness. Ethan is instantly prepared. He lights a pair of oil lamps, their soft glow filling the room with a warm, dancing light. He builds a fire in the hearth. He makes hot chocolate on the gas stove. He does it all with a quiet, unhurried efficiency that Clara finds herself watching with a kind of awe. He moves with purpose. He wastes no motion. He is a man who knows how to fix things, not just engines, everything. They sit in the living room, drinking the hot chocolate from thick ceramic mugs. Lily, curled up in a large armchair, has fallen asleep. The only sounds are the crackle of the fire and the drumming of the rain against the windows. The silence between them is not awkward. It is a shared space. "Thank you," Clara says, looking into the fire. "For stopping. For this." He nods, sipping his drink. He does not say, "You're welcome." He does not say, "It was nothing." He simply accepts her thanks. She feels a need to explain, to apologize for the scene at the shipyard. The words form in her mind, but they feel clumsy and inadequate in the quiet warmth of this room. How can she explain the pressure, the bad advice, the weight of a legacy she felt she had to tame? As if sensing her turmoil, he speaks first, his voice low. "Your father was a good man. He loved the work." It is the one thing she needs to hear. Not that he was a great businessman or a visionary leader, but that he was a good man who loved the work. It feels true. "He respected you," she says, the words coming out before she can stop them. "The feeling was mutual," Ethan says. He looks at the mantelpiece, at the photo of his smiling wife. He understood things. He understood that some things of value can't be measured on a spreadsheet. His words are not an accusation. They are a simple statement of fact, a gentle lesson. The power comes back on an hour later. The phones start working. Clara calls a tow service. As she waits, she finds herself looking around the room at the evidence of a life built with care and integrity. The handmade bookshelves, the neatly repaired leg on an old coffee table, the small model boat, Hope, sitting on a side table, its name now painted in delicate white letters on its stern. When the tow truck arrives, Ethan walks her out to the porch. The rain has softened to a drizzle. "Mr. Holt," she begins, "about my decision at the shipyard." He holds up a hand, stopping her. The work will speak for itself, he says. It is the same thing her father used to say. It always does. He does not offer absolution. He offers a principle. She nods, understanding that a simple apology is not enough. She has to do more. She has to understand. Back in her silent, empty penthouse, the memory of the warm, lamp-lit house stays with her. The smell of wood smoke, the taste of hot chocolate, the profound, simple question from a 7-year-old girl. The following Monday, Clara begins to dig. She starts with the phrase Ethan used. The work will speak for itself. It echoes something her father had written in one of his old journals, a leather-bound book she had skimmed but never truly read. She finds the journal in his home office, a room she has kept locked since his death. The room smells of him, of old paper, pipe tobacco, and cedar. She runs her hand over his massive oak desk. On the corner sits a beautiful, intricate model of a container ship, the company's first vessel. She had always admired it. She never knew who built it. She opens the journal. Her father's handwriting is a strong, decisive script. She finds the passage. Met a young man in the yard today, Ethan Holt. Quiet as a church mouse, but his hands are touched by God. Gave me this model, built it on his own time. The lines are perfect. This one understands the water. He knows the work must speak for itself. A cold knot forms in her stomach. The model on the desk. Ethan built it, a gift to her father 20 years ago. She continues her search. She starts pulling on the thread of the Special Projects Division. Marcus had made it sound like a money pit, a fool's errand. But her father was no fool. She tries to access the project files on the company server. They are locked, encrypted, access denied. She overrides it with her top-level executive credentials. The file opens. It is almost empty. There are a few budget requests from years ago, all approved. And then, for the past 2 years, nothing. The folder has been wiped clean. The access logs show the last modification was made 3 weeks ago, the day after her father's funeral. The user was Marcus Thorne. The cold knot tightens. She needs to talk to someone who knew her father. Not the corporate version of her father, but the man who walked the shipyard floors. She thinks of the old foreman from that day, George. She finds him in the yard's small, cluttered office, hunched over a set of blueprints. He looks up as she enters, his expression wary. "Miss Vance," he says, his voice flat. "George," she says, deciding directness is the only way. "I need to know about Ethan Holt, and I need to know about the project my father had him working on." George leans back in his chair, studying her face for a long moment. He seems to be weighing her, judging her sincerity. "Why?" "Because I think I made a mistake," she says, the admission costing her a piece of her pride. "A big one." George seems to soften slightly. He sighs, a long, weary sound. "Your father didn't value noise, Miss Vance. He valued work. And Ethan Holt is the best damn work I've ever seen. Your father knew it. He saw it from day one." He tells her about Ethan, about how he started as an apprentice welder and quickly outshone everyone, about his intuitive understanding of physics and materials, about the loss of his wife to a sudden illness, and how the work and Lily were the only things that kept him anchored. "And the project," Clara presses. "Project Aegis," George says, his voice dropping. "That was your father's name for it, his magnum opus, a new hull design, something that would revolutionize the shipping industry, make our ships faster, stronger, and 50% more fuel efficient. It was his dream for the future of this company, and Ethan was the only one with the genius to make it a reality." "Why was it so secret?" "Because it was a target," George says, his eyes hard. Corporate espionage is real, and because some people, he adds, his gaze pointed, don't like it when the old man's favorite isn't them. People like Marcus Thorne. He hated that your father trusted Ethan's hands more than his Harvard MBA. He tells her one more thing. He tells her about how her father, in his final months, started spending more and more time at the shipyard. Not as the CEO, but as a man rediscovering his passion. He used to just sit in Ethan's workshop, George says. Sometimes for hours. They'd drink coffee from a thermos and talk, or not talk. Just watch the work. Your father found a peace there he couldn't find anywhere else. He points to a calendar on the wall. He was with Ethan the day before he had his heart attack. They were celebrating a breakthrough. The information settles over Clara, heavy as a shroud. She has not just cancelled a project. She has desecrated her father's final, most passionate endeavour. She has betrayed his legacy in the very act of trying to secure it. Is there anything left? She asks, her voice barely a whisper. Any of the research? The prototypes? George shakes his head. Marcus's men came the day after you were here. They cleared the place out. Said it was your orders. Took everything. Computers, hard drives, blueprints. Said it was all to be securely destroyed. Destroyed? The word hangs in the air between them. Clara drives away from the shipyard, a cold, clear rage burning inside her. Marcus has played her. He used her grief and her insecurity to eliminate a rival and bury a project that would have made Ethan the most valuable man in the company. But she knows her father. He was meticulous. He was careful. He would never have left his life's work in a single vulnerable place. There has to be a backup, a fail-safe. She goes back to his office at home. She looks at the room with new eyes, searching for something out of place, a clue. Her eyes land again on the model of the first ship, the one Ethan built. It sits on a polished brass stand on the corner of the desk. It has always been there. She remembers something George said. Your father trusted Ethan's hands. She runs her own hands over the model. The tiny lifeboats, the intricate rigging. It is a work of art. Her fingers brush against the base of the miniature smokestack. It feels loose. She twists it. It turns with a soft click. A small, hidden drawer pops open at the base of the model. Her breath catches. Inside is a single, heavy, old-fashioned brass key. She knows the key. It belongs to the large, antique safe that is built into the wall behind a painting of a stormy sea. Her father had always told her it was just for show, that he had lost the key years ago. Another lie. A protective one. Her hands are shaking as she pushes the painting aside and inserts the key into the lock. It turns smoothly. The heavy door swings open. Inside, it is not filled with money or stock certificates. It is filled with the soul of a project. There are thick binders of technical drawings, all signed by both Arthur Vance and Ethan Holt. There are hard drives, clearly labeled Aegis Master Copy. There is a slim leather portfolio. She opens the portfolio first. On top is a single sheet of company letterhead. It is a letter from her father to her. My dearest Clara, it begins. If you are reading this, it means I am gone, and you have found your way past the noise and back to the work. I am proud of you. I have left you a great company, but its future is not in the boardroom. It is in the hands of the man who helped me design the vessel that will carry us into the next century. His name is Ethan Holt. He is a man of integrity, of quiet genius. Trust him. He will not fail you. But know this. Marcus Thorne has been a disappointment to me for years. His ambition has curdled into something ugly. He will try to poison you against the best parts of this company. Do not let him. He has been stealing from us for years, hiding it behind dummy corporations and inflated supply invoices. The proof you need is in the red binder. Your legacy is not to maintain what I built, but to build upon it. Aegis is that future. Ethan is the architect. Be the leader I know you can be. Her eyes fill with tears. She puts the letter down and picks up the red binder. It is all there. A meticulous record of Marcus's treachery, compiled by her father's private investigator. Financial records, shell corporations, offshore accounts. A systematic, multi-million-dollar embezzlement scheme. The final thing in the safe is a simple, faded photograph. It shows two men sitting on a pier eating sandwiches from waxed paper. One is a young Arthur Vance, smiling in a suit with the sleeves rolled up. The other is a much younger Ethan Holt, barely out of his teens, looking serious and listening intently. It is the beginning of it all. The moment her father found his genius. The trinity of truths settles upon her, undeniable and devastating. The full extent of Marcus's treachery, her father's profound, abiding respect for Ethan, and Ethan's noble sacrifice, his willingness to endure a public humiliation in silence rather than cause trouble for a grieving daughter who did not yet understand the truth. She knows what she must do. She drives to Ethan's house. It is Saturday. She finds him in his garage workshop, a space as neat and orderly as his bench at the shipyard. He is showing Lily how to use a wood lathe, his large, scarred hands guiding her small ones as they shape a piece of spinning maple. He sees her and straightens up, his face impassive. He turns off the machine. "Lily," he says gently, "why don't you go inside and get started on your homework?" Lily looks from her father to Clara, then nods and heads for the house. Clara walks into the garage. She's holding the leather portfolio. She does not know where to begin. "I know," she says simply. "Everything." She opens the portfolio and shows him her father's letter. He reads it, his expression unchanging. But she sees a flicker of something in his eyes. Grief. Vindication. "I am so sorry, Ethan," she says, her voice breaking. "For what I did, for what I said. I was blind. He manipulated me and I let him." Ethan takes a deep breath. He looks at her and for the first time she sees not a subordinate, but an equal. "Why?" she asks, the question she has been holding for weeks. "Why didn't you say anything? You could have defended yourself. You could have told me who you were to him." He is silent for a long moment, choosing his words with the same care he chooses his tools. "Because you were grieving," he says finally, "and you were the new CEO. It wasn't my place to fight you. It was my place to do my work, and to trust that eventually you would find your way to the truth. Your father trusted you to. So I did too." His simple faith in her is more humbling than any rebuke. At that moment, Lily returns. She's holding 2 mugs of hot chocolate. She sees the tears on Clara's face. She walks over and, without a word, offers one of the mugs to her. Clara takes it. The warmth spreads through her fingers. She looks at this small, serious girl and at her quiet, principled father. This is the family she never truly had. This is the integrity her father had tried to show her. "Thank you, Lily," she says, her voice thick with emotion. Lily gives her a small, shy smile. It is a gesture of acceptance, a welcome into their small, private world. The crisis comes on Tuesday, a call from their biggest shipping client, a fleet of 5 supertankers, all built by Vance Marine 5 years ago, are showing signs of premature hull fatigue. Microfractures. It is a catastrophic design flaw. The client is threatening to pull a $10 billion contract and sue. Clara looks at the blueprints for the tankers. The lead design engineer who signed off on them was Marcus Thorne. She calls Ethan. "I need you," she says. "I need your help." He arrives at the corporate tower an hour later. He is dressed in the same simple, clean work clothes he always wears. He looks out of place in the sterile, high-tech conference room, but as soon as Clara unrolls the blueprints, he is in his element. They work for 2 days straight, fueled by coffee and sandwiches brought in from a nearby deli. They pore over metallurgical reports, stress simulations, and structural drawings. He is brilliant. He sees things no one else does: a subtle flaw in the geometry of the support struts, a weakness in the alloy specifications that Marcus must have approved as a cost-saving measure. Clara is his partner. She retrieves data, runs financial analyses of the flawed materials, and organizes the information into a clear, damning case. They work in a seamless, unspoken rhythm. Mutual respect is forged in the crucible of the crisis. By Wednesday evening, they have the answer: a plan to retrofit the ships with a bracing system based on the Aegis design principles, and a clear, undeniable paper trail proving Marcus Thorne's negligence and greed. "It's time," Clara says, looking at the mountain of evidence they have assembled. She calls an emergency board meeting for the following morning. The boardroom is tense. The members, all older men in expensive suits, look grim. Marcus Thorne sits at the head of the table, opposite Clara, his expression one of cool confidence. He believes this crisis is his final checkmate. Ethan stands by the window at the back of the room, silent and observant. His presence makes Marcus uneasy. Clara begins. She is calm, methodical, and in complete command of the facts. She does not raise her voice. She simply lays out the evidence, piece by piece. First, she presents the report on the hull fatigue, acknowledging the severity of the crisis. "Marcus has assured me he has a handle on the situation," she says, looking directly at him. Marcus nods, a picture of corporate responsibility. "My team is already working on a solution. It was an unforeseen materials issue from a supplier." "Was it?" Clara asks softly. She then projects the original material requisitions onto the main screen, all signed by Marcus, specifying a cheaper, substandard steel alloy. Beside it, she projects the inflated invoices from the supplier, a company that, with a few clicks, she reveals to be a shell corporation owned by a holding company that traces back to Marcus Thorne himself. The air goes out of the room. The board members stare, stunned. "This is absurd," Marcus sputters, his composure finally cracking. "This is fabricated." Clara ignores him. She moves on, presenting the binders of evidence from her father's safe, detailing years of embezzlement. A forensic accountant, waiting in the wings, steps forward to confirm the findings. The case is ironclad. Marcus is white with rage. "This is a lie! A conspiracy cooked up by her and that grease monkey." He points a trembling finger at Ethan. "He has been poisoning her against me." Clara looks towards the back of the room. "Ethan," she says, her voice clear and steady, "would you mind explaining Project Aegis to the board?" Ethan walks to the front of the room. He does not look at Marcus. He addresses the board. He begins to speak. His voice is quiet, but carries an undeniable authority. He doesn't use slides or a laser pointer. He just talks. He explains the physics of hydrodynamic resistance, the principles of laminar flow, the revolutionary nature of the biomimetic design her father had envisioned. He makes the complex simple, the brilliant accessible. He paints a picture of a future where ships glide through the water with unparalleled efficiency and strength. It is a tour de force of engineering genius and quiet passion. When he is finished, the room is silent. He has not only presented a solution to the current crisis, he has laid out the salvation and future of the entire company. The chairman of the board, an old friend of her father's, clears his throat. I move for the immediate termination of Marcus Thorne, and for the board to turn over all evidence to the district attorney. All in favor? A chorus of ayes fills the room. It is unanimous. And, the chairman continues, I move for the immediate and full funding of Project Aegis, to be headed by Mr. Ethan Holt, who will be given the title of Chief Design Engineer and a seat on this board. Again, the vote is unanimous. Security guards enter the room and escort a defeated, ashen-faced Marcus away. He does not look at Clara or Ethan as he leaves. The board members crowd around Ethan, shaking his hand, clapping him on the back. He accepts their congratulations with his usual quiet grace. Clara watches from the side, a feeling of profound, clean victory washing over her. She has not just saved the company. She has restored its soul. After the meeting, the room finally empties. Only Ethan and Clara remain. They walk together without speaking, out of the boardroom and towards the elevators. The silence is different now. It is not empty. It is full of everything that has passed between them. It is comfortable, shared. In the cavernous, empty parking garage, they stop beside her car. I guess I owe you my company, she says, a small smile touching her lips. It was always your company, he replies. You just had to claim it. I'll have an office prepared for you on the executive floor, she says. Whatever you need. He shakes his head. My office is at the shipyard. My work is there, the real work. She understands. He will not be drawn into her world. He will not change who he is, and she finds she respects him for it more than ever. All right, she says. Then I guess I'll need an office at the shipyard too. His eyes meet hers. He gives her the small, almost imperceptible smile that she is beginning to learn how to read. It is a sign of approval, of partnership. The next day he comes to her office. He is holding the small wooden model boat, Hope. He places it on her vast mahogany desk. It looks small and handmade and incredibly precious in the sterile corporate environment. For your new office, he says. So you remember what we're building? It is a symbol of their shared journey, a promise of their shared future. A month later, the world has shifted. Project Aegis is in full swing. The shipyard is buzzing with a new energy, a renewed sense of purpose. Ethan Holt, the quiet man from the fabrication floor, is now the most respected man in the company, leading the most important project in its history. Clara Vance splits her time. 3 days a week in the corporate tower, managing the empire. 2 days a week at the shipyard, in a small, functional office she had built in a converted loft overlooking the main dry dock. It has a large window that looks out over the water. The model boat, Hope, sits on her windowsill. From her desk she can see Ethan walking the yard, talking with his teams, his hands shaping the future. She is learning his world. She is becoming a part of it. It is a Saturday in late autumn. The air is crisp and smells of the sea. They are on the water, testing a small-scale, remote-controlled prototype of the Aegis hull. It is a day for work, but it does not feel like it. Lily is with them. She sits at the bow of the test boat, laughing as she controls the prototype with a simple console, making it carve clean, white arcs in the choppy blue water. She is a natural. Clara watches Ethan watch his daughter. The look on his face is one of pure, unguarded love. For the first time, she allows herself to imagine a future that includes this. A future with this quiet, solid man and his brilliant, serious daughter. A future that feels like coming home. That evening, the boat is moored. The sun is setting, painting the sky in strokes of orange and purple. The prototype has performed perfectly. They stand together on the dock, the three of them. Lily is between them, tired and happy, holding both of their hands. After they take Lily home and put her to bed, Ethan and Clara find themselves back on the small porch of his house, watching the last of the light fade from the sky. The lights of the shipyard glitter across the water. They stand near each other, close enough to feel the warmth from each other's bodies. They do not touch. The silence stretches, comfortable and deep. It is filled with unspoken understanding, with the weight of all they have been through and the promise of what is to come. He endured her scorn. She discovered his worth. He saved her company. She gave him the canvas to create his masterpiece. He turns his head slightly, his gaze meeting hers in the twilight. He does not speak. He does not need to. She does not speak. She does not need to. The work has spoken for itself, and now a new work is quietly, hopefully, beginning.